Arkansas was the homeland of the Quapaw Nation. That is what we consider our ancestral homeland. We're walking right on this tightrope of Quapaw and American, and sometimes they bleed into each other.
I like the untapped nature of Arkansas. It helps me think. It helps me compose my mind. I grew up in the suburbs of Kolkata, India. What I loved about the American culture at large is the ability to ask hard questions. You get the degrees of freedom asking right questions, and hopefully you get to the right answers. My research will help peek around the corners of the complicated pathways of the human heart.
I grew up in a small town in South Arkansas called Gould, Arkansas. I had the part owner of the 150th Kentucky Derby winner, Mystic Dan. My dad was a farmer, and really all he ever did was work. Dad passed away in May of 23, a year to the date that we won the Derby. I guess probably the first thing that went through my mind is, wishing he was there to see it. I've always said I think Dad had the best seat in the house.
I grew up in Arkansas my whole life. I said I wasn't going to marry anyone in the military because that meant I would have to leave Arkansas. But I did. But I also knew then how much I loved my home state. How friendly, I'm sorry, how friendly we are, and smart, and very kind. Arkansas is full of kind people.
I'm Dot Ward. I live in Madison, Mississippi. The lifestyle that we enjoy here, it's not quite as fast, I guess. It's just a wonderful place to live. The people are so good and everything seems to be peaceful.
To describe the Mississippi Delta to someone who's never been here is a tough thing to do. First thing that comes to mind is flat. Second thing that comes to mind is even more flat.
The Delta has some of the richest soil in the country. You can grow great cotton and great corn. The blues has been built upon what you consider sharecroppers, slavery, what they consider as folk music, field hollers, cries, and the oppression, the pain that those people experience has created this music, this genre of storytelling. And it makes up what America is today. A country that's full of stories, the history, the oppression, and how we exceeded some of those expectations and, how we deliver the message.
When my father came here, he wasn't allowed to go to the public school. And then, just following that, I have a sister who attended Yale. Our parents and our grandparents worked so hard to give us those opportunities. Being mostly an agricultural area, if your family needed help, then you would depend on your neighbors, whether that was black, white, Chinese. So I do hope that Southern sweetness comes across as genuine and that it continues to be that way in our part of the country. And who knows, maybe we can affect, the whole rest of the country or the world with that Southern sweetness.
Alabama is a big player in aerospace, aviation, and space. So, yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Did I get preachy? The team here is known for the expertise in propulsions. So these are the guys that build the rockets that went to the moon. And then as the space race began with Sputnik in 1957, it was just a natural progression to take those missiles and make them do science things. And so that's kind of how NASA came to be here in Huntsville, Alabama.
My great-grandfather, he worked on astronauts, and I want to work on astronauts and be as successful as him.
There's always room at the top, I've heard that. I was not always the first one chosen, believe me. I grew up during the Jim Crow era. Someone riding in a 1947 Ford threw a ball of concrete with spikes in it out of the window of the car that hit me in my thigh, paralyzed me on the right side. I've had people in my units who have told me outright that their fathers were leaders of the Klan, but they have told me that they were changed because of their experience with my leadership and with my being their boss.
Now is maybe the most important time in history to share the little stories in your life, the big stories, but also just the story of what it's like to be you, because there's only one of you.
In my case, there were 6 of us, 6 brothers in Vietnam. One brother was shot down and was rescued. Another brother was on the docks in Da Nang for about a year. I think my mother said the rosary for 10 years every day, just hoping it would come back. And we all did. But I was gone an awful lot. But if it weren't for my wife and support of her and our children, I would not have stayed in the Navy, and of course, I would not have been as successful as I had been.
You did a good job, honey.